Hamanieta Hanche, Hadas Dilemia Hedasna, Own Toro Yekabantar, Eto Aslahanche.
Oh, finally you've arrived. Do come in, the adventure is about to start.
Welcome to the Fanitarium.
Our most cherished listeners, once again, our diligent oracles come bearing news most joyous, for where did they find themselves on their latest fandom-fueled escapade into the ethereal realm of our collective popular consciousness than a certain abbey. Its denizens nestled comfortably within the safety of its walls of weathered crimson. Yes. They were in Redwall. But what could such an omen portend? Could it perhaps be the arrival of one whose dulcet tones have helped to bring this iconic realm most fantastical to life? As it happens, yes, it most certainly could. And that one is none other than Carla Mack, voice of Dorabella Ivywain and Daisy Mace the Sea Rat. Yes, these tales of mice and magic are the richer for her contributions, and we humble dwellers of the Fanitarium shall be the happier for her presence in our hallowed halls. But we would be remiss if we would not mention her further contributions to our collective fandom most dear, for Ms. Mack has not only recorded but edited the Star Wars Radio Theater fan production Bowels of Bespin, leaving her own mark upon this most venerable of science fiction worlds. Today is a good day, listeners, for today Ms. Mack does us an honor most humbling, that of her company and conversation, and for it we cannot help but extend the warmest of all possible welcomes. So join us, Ms. Mack. Join us in the Fanitarium.
And with that, welcome to the show, Carla. It's great to have you on, and as someone who grew up with Star Wars audio dramas and loves making them myself, yours are pretty awesome.
Oh, thank you.
Or I should say theatrical readings, I believe, is the official word you call them.
Yeah, either or. Radio theater type thingies. I'm a novice at them, but put them all together with a whole bunch of people from all over the world. So it's great.
Yeah, so we'll start promoting that one since that's where I started. So you do, as your page calls it, theatrical readings for Star Wars, where you've done stuff like the one that comes to mind, Bowels of Bespin, and so on, where you do Star Wars radio theater, influenced by what a lot of us were, Star Wars audio dramas that NPR did, and then later on they did ones for like the Tales of the Jedi and Crimson Empire and so many more. But that's what really influenced me to get into all this in the first place, and it sounds like you too as well. Yeah.
Well, for I've studied voiceover for a long time and stuff, and then, wrote a lot of the fan fiction and stuff through role-playing and stuff with Star Wars. And then I was just driving down the road one day and listening to War of the Worlds, of all things. And I went, oh, some of our stories that we all write together are really, really good. They would probably do great as an audio theater type thing. So I asked a bunch of people if they wouldn't mind that I use some of their work for that and maybe borrow their voices for it too. And they all said sure, jumped on board, and we just got to work on it.
Awesome. So when you say Star Wars fan fiction and role-playing stuff, was this like the online message board style stuff, or more like the role-playing game with like dice and everything, or what do you mean by that?
The message board, role-playing message boards.
That's how I started that as well. In fact, this whole podcast was originally started as a role-playing community podcast for a message board, Star Wars message board. That was 7 years ago, and then it's kind of evolved. Wow. Definitely a connection right there. So you've done these, and then you said you've learned more of the voice acting, and you've moved on. So why don't you tell me about some of the projects that you've done Star Wars stuff, which we'll talk about more in the future, but you've also been able to do more commercial stuff, animation, and a certain game, which I'm really excited about, that should have been made years ago.
Are you talking about Redwall?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I got, because a bunch of my friends, they know that I'm really interested in voiceover and wanting to, break into it and use it as my job, my main job. And then when there's open casting calls for stuff, they send them to me. So the Redwall, Soma Games was doing an open casting call for Redwall. So I submitted for 2 of the characters. And it was Sophia and Tessa, who are a couple of the mains. And ended up getting a call back and stuff for it, up in the top 5. And because the rights go with the publishing company Random House in London, all of the decisions are finalized through them. So I got into one of the tops, and but didn't make the cut. I was like, that's okay. There was a secondary round of auditions, and I tried out for a couple of more characters, a pair of twins, and ended up getting casted as one of them.
So
sorry, go ahead.
I was just thinking, Redwall is a series that I read as a kid, and then Brian Jakes died in 2008, I believe, somewhere in there. And then I'm just really surprised they haven't really done anything with it, like with Narnia, with Lord of the Rings, and all these. And even Golden Compass, you would have thought Redwall would have been made, but all we've gotten ever was like a animated show for, I don't know, a season or 2. It wasn't that good. I'm just surprised it took so long to do anything with it.
I think it's probably to do with, look how long it took for Lord of the Rings to come through as a feature film or a series of feature films, right? I think it's to do with the author and their family and what they want to have done with it. Maybe they didn't like the cartoon series very much either. I'm not sure.
I imagine it might be the similar thing that happened with Lord of the Rings, because the original was a cartoon as well, and it turned out very good. Interesting for its time, but not very good.
Yeah, I think they just want to see if, they probably get pitched it, right? And then they see whether or not it's good enough for them to say, okay, yeah, you can do that, or to tell them to go back to the drawing board. I'm not sure exactly how it works, but that's my guess.
So were you a fan of Redwall, at least aware of Redwall before you started it?
I read some of the books when I was younger. So and watched the cartoons when I was younger too. So I was familiar with it. It's been a long time since I've touched on the material, but I'll definitely be checking it out again.
And for people who aren't aware, the Redwall game is called, Lost Legends of Redwall is the official name of it. And there are 6 episodes. 3 take place before Redwall, and I believe 3 take place after Redwall. And they have characters in it like Matthias and Constance, who are in the books, but they are not the leads. This was kickstarted a while ago. Soma's making it, and the official release was September 14th of this year, and then another episode just came out last month, like a month ago exactly, and then they're working on, or at least another part of it, right? Came out like a month ago, and now they're working on The Miner, I believe is the next section.
Yeah, they're setting it up for Christmas to be coming out on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One online, so there's... Yeah, it's a continuous work in progress.
And right now it's available on Steam.
Yes.
Which I know is where you play it.
That's right.
So, Redwall, also for those who don't know the Redwall books, it's about basically, think of a fantasy medieval series, but all the characters are animals. There's mice, otters, squirrels tend to be good guys, stouts or weasels, rats tend to be bad guys, badgers tend to be big warriors, and there's always big protective warrior badger who protects Salamandastron, and then mice tend to be the main heroes in a lot of the stories. There's like, I don't know, 20 books thereabouts. There was a lot.
Something.
There was a lot more than I remembered. I blinked and there was a whole lot more all of a sudden.
Yeah.
And they take place in this world. It's very family friendly. The hardest part I remember reading the books was the moles speaking very much Welsh accents, and they're kind of hard to read sometimes. I grew up with the audiobook, and so I could hear it, and then I tried reading it, like, that's not words, that's something. And from what I've seen so far, that all that language that Brian Jakes brought to his books and how he wrote it, because he wrote every character phonetically.
Yes.
Is brought to this game. How much of a challenge was that to bring some of these characters to life that have that very British Brian Jakes language?
Everyone's got their own. I think for some of my auditions, I think I laid it on too thick. So when I had my callbacks, I toned it down, and then that was when I got picked up. So everybody's got a different English accent for it, but we had specifics for it. It's not BBC English. It's not,
It's not Downton Abbey.
Yeah, not Downton Abbey for sure.
Redwall Abbey instead.
Yeah. There is an Abbey. So yeah, we all communicate together, and if there's any pronunciations, we double check our accents, because sometimes you can slip out of it a little bit. You can put in an American take on a word instead of doing whichever British dialect your character is and doing it. So I've been caught on it a couple of times. And it's like, oh, I got to redo that one again.
For the recording of this one, do you do it remotely, or do you have go into a studio to do it?
We all do them from home, from our own little studios. We just record them all, and whatever they give us, and then we send it on through. And so sometimes you'll think you're done, and then a couple of weeks later, like, guess what? We got a bunch more stuff for you to do. Okay.
And so this one, they've been working on this for quite a while.
Yeah.
How long ago were you set up to start recording? Like how many sessions have they had you do so far? Because I know if it's episodic, they have to do the voices. They're moving pretty quickly, but voices are almost one of the last things they put in when a lot of these get put together.
Yeah. Let's see. I think I started in June. I think it was June when I started, and I had a bunch to do for Dorabella, who's one of the mice that I play. And then later I ended up being an understudy, and then finally got the role for Daisy Mace, who's one of the pirate rats. And so then I had more to do pirate. So I had more to do for her, and then they're like, oh, we're expanding more on Dorabella, so can you do these for us? So it's about every month or so, maybe sometimes every few weeks, they'll be handing us more stuff to do. And then they ended up having another game coming out too, for Redwall, Escape the Gloomer, which is on Amazon. And
nice.
So we all got picked for different parts and stuff for that one. So
one thing I'm really happy about when it comes to this game is how upfront Soma is about what they can and can't do.
Yes. Because
there's 22 books. There's no way they can capture all of them, so they're saying specifically where they're going to take place. They mentioned how one of the big deal is the food. But if you've read Redwall books, there's food everywhere. Tons of food. Lots and lots of food. And they mentioned, they can't do Redwall Abbey perfect the way people want it to do. It's not possible. Scale is really hard for them to do. Because first of all, it's a big world, but you're mice.
Yeah.
The scale's, not the easiest thing, but and how they see it as an honor that they got picked rather than just an opportunity. Which it is an opportunity, but they have to really hit it out of the park. And it sounds like, from what I've seen so far, I haven't played the first episode yet because I have to catch up on my backlog if I'm allowed to buy more games. I have to shrink it by a little bit. But it is a plan. But usually I wait for the whole thing to come out, and then I buy it all at once and play it, rather than having to wait, and then buy again and wait. And I'm not patient. I'll binge. But I like it how they're really not just reimagining it. They're really taking the world of Redwall to heart and trying to really capture it for the fans. Because I remember when they first announced this, so many fans really jumped on board and were really, really, really excited for it. Like many more than I would have expected, because Redwall really hasn't been in the public eye for a long time. Right. And as soon as they announced it, people went crazy for it, in a really positive way, which is good, because we're in a time where video games aren't necessarily taken. They don't always generate positive stories, positive reactions, positive news, especially when game developers start talking. And it's really nice to see a positive response to a game announcement like this, because Redwall is ripe for this. And the closest I've ever had is was it Tooth and Tail, I think, was a strategy game that came out not that long ago that I thought, oh look, it's a Redwall strategy game, but it's not.
Yeah.
Close, but not.
When I got told that I was, that they wanted to have my voice for one of the characters and stuff, it's like my jaw just like hit the floor. I was like, really? 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 Because it's like, some things you just know that it's going to take off. That it's going to be a lot of work and a lot of fun, but it's really going to be something that's going to take off. And it has, so I'm quite happy with it.
Are you ever nervous that, being that it is Redwall, it is something that this, A, the first time it's being done, and B, such a big series and well loved, are you ever nervous that you might mess up?
Everybody's got that a little bit, I think. We're our own worst critics, aren't we? So
yeah.
But the characters that I have are so much fun. And, I do a lot of improv and stuff in my recording as well. And, because they give us a lot of creative freedom. And it's just too much fun. It's too much fun. So I think the only things that I mess up more would just be on pronunciations.
Nice. At least I will say this, Redwall fans are a lot more forgiving than Star Wars fans have been for a little bit now.
Yeah, I mean, I've heard some critiques on it, like how the mice run, if they should run on 2 feet or if they should run on 4 feet, that kind of thing.
Honestly, when I read those books, I always interpret him running on 2 because he's carrying a sword. Kind of hard to run on 4 if you have swords.
And lanterns and stuff too that they carry. You can't.
And knapsacks and.
Yeah.
And then they literally have like badgers and stuff carrying mice and so on. So. Yeah, I always interpreted it as 2, but I guess to each his own. They don't outright, as far as I remember, they don't outright say it in the book, and that's probably on purpose.
Yeah. Yeah.
So. But yeah, I'm actually really, really excited for this one. So with Redwall, I actually try to get my kids into. We did audiobook because they're too young to pay attention for that long, because we do road trips, and so I always start with Mossflower before I do Redwall, because Martin the Warrior is a fun character. But these are ones I definitely wish kids would get more into now, because they give you the vocabulary that books like to give you, but also the world is so easy to get into, and you don't have to read every Redwall book. Not every Redwall book is like, they're connected, they're good to do, but you don't have to read them all. You can literally pick and choose, and you'll be fine.
Yeah,
that's 4 core ones, and then go.
Yeah, that's the same with a lot of the Star Wars books too, because I didn't read those in order.
Yeah, you're just like, okay, I like X-Wing books, I'll read these. I like this one, I'll read this series, okay.
Yeah, exactly. So it's kind of neat that you can touch into different parts of a certain world and then go back.
So you mentioned that you've played, the game since it is out. What's it like playing a game that you're involved in? Do you ever have the oh no I'm coming up, no I can't listen, skip reaction, or like, oh, that's me, oh, I sound good?
That would be the second option. I would be further ahead in the game, but I have to play with my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter. She absolutely loves it, and so she calls it the mice game. And so we play it together, and it just seemed to take forever just to get to one of my parts. It seemed like, but once we got to it, I was like, oh, there she is. Oh, but of course she's in a maze, and we have to try to find her, but we have to avoid getting found by the rats. And so every time we got close, we would get found by a rat and have to start at our previous save point. So it took us a while to get there. But once we got to her, and it's like, okay, now we got to make her talk. But then we ended up not making her talk. So it's like, damn.
So
we let her escape, so we had to keep going back for it. But then we finally got it, and I recorded it on my phone for my friends and family and stuff to see and go, look, that's me. It doesn't sound like me, but it's me.
So which did you have more fun recording, the good character mouse or a pirate? A pirate
Dorabella. It would have to be my mouse.
Nice.
Did you ever watch Little House on the Prairie?
Yes, I've had to watch every episode of that show.
Well, she's a lot like the snooty
Shopkeeper?
Yeah. Harry Olsen.
Yes.
Harriet Olsen. Yeah, she's a lot like her. I kind of fashioned it off of her and Miss Piggy and Julia Child.
Interesting.
It's
So Frank
quite the
Oz
mix.
and two comic book. I mean, and two TV actors. Okay.
I know. But
Nice.
she's a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. And she's not like your typical good guy, because she's very selfish. And
She feels very real.
oh, very much so.
I have to say,
She's
when
the
I was
most-
first showing this demo to one of my friends, he confused it for the mouse or the rat challenge that they have in Ender's Game, in the movie for a bit, and he was like, "No, this is not that. That is far more terrifying than this ever will be. You're not gonna have a rat going into a giant's eyeball, and
No.
that won't happen ever."
No.
Okay, so I know recently, I think it was yesterday, they did the most recent developer update on this one, and that's where I believe where you were talking about how they're going to be releasing it really soon on consoles, and hopefully
Yes.
that goes very smoothly, because I know you never, no matter how many times you test something out, you're never prepared for every glitch that someone's going to find. You can never
Well,
find
exactly.
enough glitches.
I've already found a glitch and whatnot when my daughter and I were playing, and it was just the level just before my first level that I'm in, and it was a creepy kind of glitch
Hmm.
because we went over into a cemetery, and we see a couple of rats, and they're hauling carts full of chests and stuff, but they're frozen in place. So I was like, oh, okay. Maybe they don't see us, so we'll sneak on over and see. Their arms are out to their sides, and their eyes are glowing white, and their
Oh, dear.
mouths are hanging open. They looked possessed. And we walk over by them and we kind of disappear in the cart, and then we come back out, and it's like they don't see us at all. It's like, what are we supposed to do here? It was
Oops.
really creepy.
Luckily, stuff like that they can fix, and hopefully,
Yeah.
gamers are forgiving enough to let it happen. Because some
Yeah.
games we don't forgive very quickly for some games, and some games we let them have plenty of time. So, but yes, so that is Redwall, the Lost Legends of Redwall. It's available on Steam. It's going to be
Yeah, that's
available
the-
on so much more really soon.
Yeah, it's the Scout, because there's Lost Legends of Redwall, the Scout, and then Lost Legends of Redwall,
Escape the
the Gloomer,
Yeah.
which is the one on Amazon.
And
That
then-
one's a neat one, because that one's totally different from the other games.
That's the one with the otter, right? It's more connected to
Yes.
Mossflower, while the first one
Yes.
takes more connected to Redwall.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
Mossflower, for those who don't know, is a prequel book. It takes place well before it's Martin the Warrior. It's actually my favorite Redwall book, period. Good one.
You'll probably like this one. There's two different versions of it. There's one that's the old textile or text version game. So you just write down everything that you want it to do, or what you want to do. And then the other version is an interactive radio theater, which goes on the
Nice.
Amazon Echo.
That's really cool. So like you talk to the Echo to get to do that?
Yeah. Yeah. So you have the narrator who goes through all the spiel and stuff and say like, you found this cave, blah blah blah. And then you tell Amazon, you tell the narrator, okay, I go into the cave. So then it'll narrate going, you go into the cave and it's dark and all this kind of stuff. And you can tell it that you want to, pick something up off the ground. It'll tell you what you found and all those kind of things. So it's really neat.
I like that. Having grown up listening to like the audiobooks, that's awesome. That is really awesome.
Yeah, so it's almost like a choose your own adventure audiobook type thing.
I'm sold.
Do you have an Amazon Echo?
We have a Kindle Fire, we have a Fire TV, we have Alexa. We'll find it to work.
Yep.
And then the Miner's the next one, which comes out, which I know is I'm excited to hear because it's the tale of a mole, and the moles are the ones that talk crazy.
Yes.
In Redwall, they're the hardest ones to read, and I imagine those ones they had to find really special people to cast because the moles are, they're hard. They're hard to read. Yeah,
I haven't encountered it yet, so I know that they had moles for the audition for the first round of auditions, and but I haven't encountered them yet, so I don't know. Are they in the game that we've already done yet? I'm not sure.
Well, we have to go search and find more moles.
Yeah,
but I'm glad that they do talk about everything. More. Yeah, I'm glad though they do talk about everything. You have in the first one you have River Moss, you have Salamandastron in there, Redwall Abbey. They do talk about all these places, so you're instantly in the world that you know, and that is what's perfect. Is you're instantly there, you know what you're doing, and then kind of like how we'll say Telltale does it. You start off, rest in peace Telltale, but you start off one place familiar, and then they go off into a direction totally new by the end. And this one looks like it's doing, because from what I understand, the first 3 episodes are kind of interconnected stories, and then they're going to take someone from the first 3 ones to be a villain, and they connect it with the last 3 episodes, if I recall right, when they started talking how it's going to work. So that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Yes. Yeah. It's a lot of fun.
So let's bounce back to something that, as we said, this whole show originally started as a podcast for a message board, role-playing board, a Star Wars role-playing message board, back in the days of sites like EasyBoard and so on, when people used to message board all the time, and Star Wars role-playing was huge on message boards.
Yes.
Still kind of exists, but not as big. So now we have stuff like Discord, and people do it live and do audio dramas and so on. So a lot of the people that you role-played with, do you still talk with them and try to get them to do stories with you? And do you do these situations in writing with them, or do you just take stories that you remember being told and adapt them yourself?
A bit of both. I haven't been able to finish recording the next episode and stuff just because I've been busy with Redwall and some dubbing for some Japanese shows. So a lot of my days off have been, in studio or in my studio at home, doing other stuff. But I still talk with them. I still write with them. I still warn them that I'm going to be stealing their voices. Some are too afraid to do it, so I get others to do it for them. And sometimes I get my husband to do it as well.
I approve. I've done, I think I'm 14 of them right now, and some people will do their own voices. Some people will say, I don't want to touch it. Some people say, can I hear what the voice did? And then sometimes actually they're quite too scared to to hear it. But not everyone likes to hear their own voice. Not everyone can do the voice that they always envisioned for their character, which is probably the biggest thing.
Yes.
We don't always talk the way we envisioned.
Well, especially when they use celebrities as their photos for their characters.
So I'm curious, since I had a decade plus role playing. Where did you used to role play in the past?
Oh gosh, I started in May of 1999. That's when we first like got the internet really at home that wasn't like a trial thing. So it came with Talk City.
Nice.
And there happened to be Star Wars rooms there. So started off with everybody just quoting as many lines as they could from all of the movies. And then we just started making up our own characters and starting to role play. So that was where I got my start. So I'm an oldie role player. I think I kept doing it for about 3 or 4 years. Then Talk City decided to start charging people. So then we moved over to like Easy Boards.
Do you know which Easy Boards communities you were? Because I know there was like Star Wars fans, there was Gungan Council, there was Star Wars Millennium, there was a lot of places.
Yeah, exactly. There was lots to choose from. So that was where I started the whole message board one.
Nice. And then you stayed there for a time, and then life
for
hit
a time. Yep. Then life hit, and then after I had my daughter, she would have me up in the night sometimes. So I thought, oh, maybe I should check out to see if there's any Star Wars role-playing boards around. And I happened to find one that had a good rating and whatnot. So then I jumped into it.
Nice.
So it kept me occupied during those nights when she would have me up early.
I think when my first child was born, what I dived into was Star Wars: The Old Republic. I just like, well, I have tons of time to play. Let's walk around these worlds, and you sleep, hopefully.
Mm-hmm. And there's always somebody else awake. You know, I had a lot of Australians that were keeping me entertained.
Nice. That's awesome. You know, it's kind of amazing because, like, I grew up with message boards and Easy Board, and like literally, it's been half my life. Wow.
Yeah.
'Cause I started in 2001, so like half my life. Yeah. So growing up with these ones, you kind of think like, oh, like, your community is so small, but like, it's amazing how many different people I've seen who started, even people who write Star Wars books now or the guides and so on, who started in those role-playing communities, in those message boards. Some of them left sooner than others, but that's where so many of us started, because back then we had stuff like Bantha Tracks, the search engine for Star Wars, or Echo Base, the search engine for just Star Wars. And now we have, if you look at Star Wars, there's probably a handful of websites, maybe 10 official-ish fan ones. But back then there were thousands, and it was awesome.
Oh, it's great. And I've run into some of the old people from Talk City that I used to write with there. I ran into them at these Star Wars boards.
Nice.
So it's kind of neat going, hey, are you so-and-so? Are you so-and-so? Oh my gosh, it's been like 10 years or whatever. And it's very nice.
It's also, then I meet some of them, in person. Like, I've had some people I role played with in person, come to my house, and my wife's always been okay with it. Well, the ones that come here are the ones that she's okay with.
Right.
But it's always interesting because she had to get used to the fact that some people will call me by a message board name.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you're Bane. I'm like, oh, yep, that's me. I haven't used that name in a long time. I used to use that name on the show, and now they're like, no. I was told by one of the actual Star Wars actors, I can't remember which one it was. I just think it's like, use your real name. Don't use your pseudonym. Don't go by Bane Nathos. And I go, fine, I won't. And I haven't since. But it's interesting how people will come talk to me that way, and it's perfectly normal among a certain audience.
Yep.
And it's just fun. It's fun. And definitely from your projects that you do, and also from all over your Twitter, you're definitely a very excited Star Wars fan.
Yeah, just a little bit. If you want to say that. I have a lot of R2-D2 stuff because he's my hero. And
he is the hero of the saga.
He is the hero of the saga. So, oh gosh, my husband, I think, is probably a little bit embarrassed about how much stuff that I have for R2. But my daughter, my 5-year-old daughter, she loves Star Wars and R2-D2 and stuff as well. So we kind of share. We both have R2-D2 jackets. We both have R2-D2 toques. We've got dishes. We've got the measuring cups. We've got the air popcorn maker. We've got a tea set.
Nice.
And, of course, a lot of toys.
So, we're going to begin wrapping this up because we're almost out of time. But we're going to ask some questions that I like to ask about fandom in general. Because when it comes to Star Wars fans of late, sometimes they're cranky of late. Sometimes they're defensive. And I just like to talk about, in general, just fandom. So when it comes to Star Wars, which are your favorite movies? Since I'll give you a couple because some people, if you pick one, it hurts. So which ones are your favorite?
Well, I've got all of them. As a kid, I always liked Return of the Jedi.
Nice, that's mine.
And I've got the Ewok movies on DVD as well. And and the Ewok cartoon show. Remember that?
Yes.
I saw them as
Androids.
I saw them at the Ice Capades back in the day.
Wow.
And let's see. I liked Solo. That was a good ride.
I actually saw that the other day for the first time on an airplane because I was moving when it came out, and so and graduating from grad school, so it just didn't work. And then the movie theater here gets movies way late, so you got it right after I moved here, but they had it for 5 days. I'm like, it was before I got paid. I'm like, I can't do it. And then I rented it, but I rented it on Blu-ray, and my son ruined my PS4. Like, it won't play anything physical anymore.
Oh no!
So I couldn't watch it. So I watched it on an airplane, which is not the best way to watch it. But I definitely enjoyed Solo a lot. My only complaint about Solo is minor. One, it's probably the shallowest Star Wars movie ever made, but it's also the most pulpy, like the stuff that Star Wars came from. The old serials. That's where Star Wars lives and breathes. It came from Flash Gordon, so it came from that. You can tell it's there.
Yeah, it's a space opera. It's like a soap opera, but it's sci-fi.
And then the fact that we probably won't get another one. Oh, that end. I wish we could get more. I need more. Maybe the TV. Maybe the TV will give us more. But yes, I definitely enjoyed Solo a lot. I just wish we had a promise. I wish the promise of more at the end we could actually get delivered on. Maybe someday. Maybe someday.
There were definitely some questions that were left unanswered. And stuff, but it was neat to see the Kessel Run.
Oh yes, and they had it make sense finally. Distance versus time, and it finally made sense. And it was also really gorgeously shot. And also, my only other complaint was it felt like a miniseries crammed into a 2-hour and 20-minute movie. Like a lot of the stuff, like, oh, I want more of this ground battle. That's really it's moving. Okay. I want more of this. It's moving again. Which is good for a movie, but I sometimes like to let it breathe. Because they were so awesome to look at. I wanted to see more.
Yeah. I think they were just testing the waters with it.
Yeah, it's definitely gorgeously shot and so on. I think my favorite of the new ones is definitely Rogue One, though, because I grew up on war movies, and that's like Star Wars war. Love it.
It's great to see that side, to see the Imperial side.
And then that's the way. I think when my wife saw it in theater, she had to move away from me because I started vibrating about halfway through that space battle. Once certain ships collide to the end, it's just like she's like, "You're way too distracting." I'm like, it's so beautiful. Then Darth Vader showing up, and it was just
that was epic.
Happy epic. Fan. And then the sequels, I think they're going to grow on people. I think. Problem is, no one could have been ready for what to happen because no one knew what was going to happen. No one knew. So I don't know. I think people are gonna forgive Last Jedi for whatever faults they see in it in the future. Yeah. It'll pass, and people. It all depends on how it ends, really. Actually. Yeah. We have one more to see what happens, but I loved Last Jedi. I thought it was beautifully shot, and I'm a big Mark Hamill fan, and I liked that it didn't do the obvious.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
I loved some of the humor in it too. Right? Like right at the beginning, you got Poe talking away.
It's like a lot of these ones, like Rogue One and that one, are written like the way that we would write role plays back in the day on message boards. It's like, that's exactly what we do. That sort of thing.
It's like some of it's like just so epic, and then some of it's just like ridiculous.
And then the little like Sound of Music type nuns on that island that just keep on. Like,
Oh yeah.
and then my son loves my porg and walks around and talks to him, and little mechanical
there you
porg.
go.
It's some great stuff, and I'm looking forward to 9. I'm looking forward to that Mandalorian TV show.
Yes.
I just
Yes.
wish it
that
wasn't behind a
looks-
paywall, because that's what happened with Star Trek. I'm like, I don't want to pay you more money. I pay you
Yeah.
lots of money.
I'm kidding. Well, you can wait until it comes out on DVD or some Blu-ray.
For $80 or whatever they want to charge.
Or
But so
maybe
much
just
great.
ask for it for Christmas, and then you're not paying for it at all.
True. But sometimes you ask for it, and then people are like, do you really want this? You're just going to buy it for yourself. I'm like, no, it's on my list. Just give it to me.
Yeah, but you gotta make sure that people communicate with each other when you ask them to get you something. Because I've got 3 copies of Rogue One on Blu-ray. From like, I got 2 from my brothers that live in the same house. And I said, really, you guys didn't talk to each other first to say what you got me? You both got me the same thing.
That's where you can give it to other people now, so you can share the love of Star Wars.
Exactly, but a lot of people I know already have it.
I guess that's true.
Yeah.
And it's not even like they're all different editions.
No,
Not
they're
yet.
the exact same one. But that's okay. Somebody will want it.
You'll have a backup in case
Yeah.
one gets hurt.
That's true too.
And then you have digital codes you can give to people. So.
As
the
long
plus.
as they're in the same region.
Oh yeah,
They're region
Canada
specific.
has the same as the
Yes.
the US though, doesn't it? Because
Yeah.
we're the same box office. Canada
It's
and-
just that if you want to give it to somebody in the UK or
They
New
don't
Zealand,
have PAL, yeah.
yeah,
Region locked.
yeah,
I had that issue growing up with my mom from New Zealand. Would be like, hey, let's watch this movie. Oh yeah, it doesn't work here.
Mhm.
Yeah, it doesn't. You should get a better DVD player.
yeah. Yeah,
So it
one
made
of
it so
those.
when I grew up, I had to get region-free DVD players and Blu-rays, and like, I had to make sure I could play it, or else why I own it. So but that's awesome.
Mhm.
Okay, so last couple questions then.
Okay,
Favorite Jedi or Sith?
Jedi.
Okay. If you could have any colored lightsaber, what would it be?
Blue, because that's my favorite color.
Okay. And then if you could have any ship in Star Wars canon, we'll go canon so you can see it visually, including animation.
Yes.
Which one would you either want to own or at least fly in?
X-wing, because I
Nice.
like fighter jets, and
Nice.
that's a good comparison to one.
I think my favorite starfighter is the Naboo one, but I just love the design. It's so
Mm-hmm.
bright. I like the look. I also like the look of Y-wings, but Y-wings never
Yes.
got to shine until Rogue One. So
Yeah.
finally, they got to do something cool.
Yeah, but I fashioned the X-wing to have the maneuverability and stuff more like my favorite jet, which is the Tomcat,
Oh,
the
Okay, that's
retired
cool.
Tomcat.
yeah.
Yeah.
Last but not least,
Mm-hmm.
one Star Wars character that is not in Star Wars canon that is from EU that you would like to be put in Star Wars canon somehow. Who would it be and why?
Oh gosh. Expanded universe. Let's see. I have 2.
Put it to two.
I have Shadow Dukal.
Ooh,
She
nice.
was pretty cool. And then Mara Jade, of course, too.
So Shada Dukal was from the Han Solo books, if I remember right. She was the one of the Mistral warriors, right?
Yep.
Okay. Trying to make sure my EU is not crossing anywhere. Because now I have 2 universes to try to put together, and my brain is confusing.
I know, and then they put in more stuff, and yeah, or they nix stuff, and yeah.
At least they're bringing some back in. Like one thing Solo did that I loved was Solo really validated. If you liked the prequels, Solo validated prequels. If you liked Clone Wars, Solo validated Clone Wars.
Yeah.
If you liked the Spirit of Rebels, Solo and Rogue One definitely gave them validation, and they brought in lots of stuff from
the original.
EU in there.
Yeah.
You had Pikes in there from Clone Wars. I never thought I'd see a Pike.
Yeah.
I saw Pikes. And of course another character at the very end. Definitely validated. But you got to see how they actually do love all this and connect it. And one thing that kind of put a lot of us off, as you probably remember from the prequels, was George Lucas made them the way he wanted to, but at the same time, he kind of took books that we had liked and thought that were going to be canon or something like that, and went, yeah, no. And we had to get used to that, which people should be used to it by now when it comes to movies. They really should, but they haven't. But I just like how these ones are taking, oh yeah, you really love this, we're putting it in a movie, and they do it well. They put Thrawn in Rebels really well. Like, they didn't just put him as the villain of the week. They actually used him well and didn't waste him. Which I was really afraid they were going to just waste him.
Yeah, I'm waiting for them to put him in one of the movies or have his own standalone movie.
Yeah. All of us keep on saying who we'd cast as him. I don't care. Put anyone
doesn't matter.
As long as it's not like Danny DeVito. That might hurt me. That might hurt.
Oh, yeah. That would be a good spoof movie, like something Mel Brooks would do.
A spoof movie? I don't know if it'd be a good one. But...
No.
Okay, so you said you have another episode of the Star Wars stuff coming out for Audio Chaos coming out sometime soon. You're recording it now, right? Yeah.
I'm more than halfway through, so.
Any sort of timetable for that one at all? Or hopes, dreams?
In the new year.
In the new year? Okay.
I've just signed on with this agency, so I've been getting a lot of big auditions and stuff that I've had to do. Some of them involve singing, which is one of my least favorite things to do, or at least have other people hear me do.
But if you're doing voice acting, it's something that's going to be required.
Yes, exactly. And I even had to do some for Redwall as well. So and the dubbing for the Japanese show, they told me I wasn't going to have to sing, but then they lied. They lied. But yeah, so I've been, every time I think that I have some time off, then it's like, oh, I got to do this other stuff first. So I'm getting there. I think I've got all of the other additional voices in there, so I just have to finish my part and then set it all to music and get the effects, make all the sound effects, and then put it all together and upload it to YouTube.
And then, of course, the main thing people can hear you on right now is Redwall, which is available on Steam, pretty soon on PS4 and I guess they call it the Microsoft Store. I think it's the official name of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
And so that'll be coming up. And then some anime is coming up, which that's always exciting. You have to match speeds with those ones. Those are hard.
No, I'm not doing anime. I'm doing live action Japanese.
Oh.
Yeah.
So you still have to match the speed, though.
I have, yeah. I watch the video and then try to, match the speed. Sometimes we have to add words. Sometimes we got to take them away. All that kind of stuff. But, I'm at 148 episodes down out of 156.
Nice. How much practice did it take to be able to match the voice? Because when you dubbing is a totally different skill than voice acting. Voice acting, you have to be able to yak a contortionist, while dubbing, you have to contortion, but you also have to at the same time match the speed of delivery, the way the mouth is moving, and sometimes not even say the same stuff they're saying because languages don't always, they don't translate directly.
Exactly.
And it's like, how is that a skill you already had beforehand that you knew about, or is it something you just found out that you had?
I learned along the way.
Nice.
They first brought me in for a show called Daddy Sister, and I just had little bit parts, little like couple of liners here and there. Did about 12 episodes. Played teachers, played kids, and I just learned. Like, it's probably the hardest one to do out of all the voiceover because it's so technical. You have to get your timing right. You have to get the inflection in your voice right and stuff, and try not to be in your head so much. Try to read the script and watch the TV, not make it sound like you're reading and act along on top of it. Whereas, doing the video game or doing cartoons, you just get to go crazy.
Well, I think that's probably why you see when people are really good at dubbing, they tend to, that's what they do, their bread and butter.
Yeah.
The whole group in Texas, that's what they do all the time.
Yeah.
Work with Funimation. And then the people who really do like the voice acting, can do tons of voices or mimicry and so on, they stick to that because they're different. And I've seen maybe a handful of people that I've talked to have literally done both, and it's not an easy thing to jump across and just do both because they're very different skill sets.
Yeah, they are very different, but they're both fun. I mean, we have fun when we do it.
That's awesome. It sounds fun.
It is. I mean, gosh, we joke around so much, but the way that they edit it in is like it's just put in like right then and there. It's not like, okay, let's do a whole bunch of different takes. And we'll pick out the best one.
Oh, it's live insertion.
It's like right there. Because the director's in Japan. We're Skyping with him while we record in a studio in Vancouver. That's
scary. That is no safety net there.
No, there is no safety net, and you don't want to, use up too much time either, right? So you really gotta jump on it.
And then if people want to follow other updates or anything else, that when you can start talking about other things, because you're seeing all these auditions and so on, when you can start talking about other things, where can people follow you and what you're working on? And you post things like the Redwall updates and so on, I know, on Twitter, but where do you want people to go?
You can find me on Twitter. I have 2 accounts on Twitter. I have one for me, which is the Carla. Let me just bring it on up here because I don't remember it all. I have too much stuff. I don't have a Facebook groupie page yet, but on Twitter you can find me at Carla_Mack, MACK. And then I have my Star Wars one, which is where you find a lot of the audio chaos. My radio theater updates is... My phone is a little slow. At SW Audio Chaos.
Awesome. And we will send people your way, and I wish you best of luck. And I hope people do play that Redwall game, because I really want it to do well, because then they'll do more.
Yes, we do. They are a lot of fun. They are a lot of fun.
And there's so much more opportunity they can do. They can do an MMO. They can do strategy games, because Redwall, pretty much everyone has a war game in it. They can do, adventure-style games like a Legend of Zelda type with Martin the Warrior. There's so much opportunity, but they really have to do the first one justice, and it has to be a success. Or else, as we know, they don't make more if they don't make money, because we wish that happened, but we have to make money.
Yes, exactly. And I'm hoping that they branch out more and then start getting the toys, because I want to be an action figure.
Do you want to be a mouse action figure, or does it not matter? It's any action figure.
It doesn't matter. Any action figure for a character that I voice, I want it.
Be a Funko Pop. Let's go.
Exactly. That would be fun. It would be so much fun. Then I can start a whole new collection.
And then you'd be like, sorry, R2, I'm buying my own action figures now.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, I'll still love R2.
Okay.
It'll still be my favorite.
So that's that. It's quite fascinating that the community, which seemed big at the time with online role-playing on message boards, though it's actually pretty small when it comes to the larger group of fandom, that nowadays, so many years separated from my time of it, that I can meet people that I knew from it, I met from that era, and not know them as connected to it. I have people that I've stayed connected with from my days of Star Wars role-playing over the years, and I know them from that, and I connect them to that. But when I meet people professionally who are connected to that and connected to me in that way, but I don't connect them to it, it's really fascinating. We've grown up, we've moved on, and I love how many role players and people that I played with for many, many years, they're writing books, they're moving on, they're having kids, they're moving into professional life, and I just love that I can make these connections unintentionally. And Redwall, I might have just downloaded it on Steam. Go play it. It's fun. It's a children's game. It is fantasy that I grew up with, and I'm just glad to see it living on in a way that is both positive and fun. And I hope the rest of the episodes are as good as the first one. And Star Wars roleplay audio dramas, they love them. I do them. We have 2 more coming out soon, and check out her stuff. We'll have stuff coming out. I just love that the passion that role-playing brought to me and gave me to do audio dramas, that lives on in other people as well, and that I am not alone in that. And I hope that continues continues on for many, many, many years to come. And this show will continue on for many years to come. Hope you guys have a happy holidays. I don't know if I'll have another interviews beforehand, but there will definitely be more Let's Talk, both on YouTube and on the main feed for you to enjoy. Probably 2 more before the end of the year. And then we have a great new year planned as we come up. Happy holidays, everyone, and hope you enjoy the interview. And of course, check out Carla Mack in her future work. And of course, check her out on Redwall. But for now, thank you, Zach, for always doing the awesome intros for all our Fanitarium interviews. And thank you, Caleb Kuzner, whose music is behind these interviews, especially in those intros. That's his stuff. You can check him out on calebkuzner.com, and he is a composer. You can